many publishers weren't very encouraging. One large children's publisher actually saying that they didn't work with children, which I said, I don't know, I didn't actually think of the irony at the time, but later when I was thinking about this, I was like, kind of alienating a large client there. One publisher, Action Publishing, we actually called them up, we got them on the phone, and they were willing to take a listen to my ideas. They took a leap, published my books, Flying Fingers and Dancing Fingers, and from there on it's gone to speaking at hundreds of schools, keynoting with thousands of educators, and standing here before you, which I am really privileged to be able to do. If the numerous conference organizers with whom I've worked, if they had taken Let Kids Be Kids at face value, if they thought, oh, this child, she's giving up her childhood, she's, she should just be in school and advancing at a normal pace, and maybe when she grows up, then she'll be a writer or something like that. If they had thought that, then they wouldn't have let me speak on these stages, since they're stages truly designed for adults most of the time. This is the kind of accomplishment that Let Kids Be Kids ought to include rather than discourage. This is LKBK 2.0. And that's why I believe in allowing the student to define the extent of possibility, for us to decide how far our dreams and possibility take us. You see this represented with the parents who support their kids when they want to go above and beyond. You see this with the teachers who make efforts to differentiate in their classrooms. You see this with what NWEA is doing in adaptive testing. Allowing a student's aptitude, not their age, to determine how far they go. It shouldn't just be a testing method, it should be life. It seems like each couple of centuries has its own attitude toward kids. In the early 16, 17, even 1800s, then children were thought of as miniature adults. This is actually a portrait that I saw when I think I was studying art or something, and it was kind of scary to me. And this whole idea and basically what I learned about was that these portrait artists, they really had, during some of the winter months when it was harder to get from place to place to get their customers, they would often pre-draw like the body of the portrait sometimes and then draw the head when they actually went to draw the person. So what turned out was these weird pictures of kids on adults' bodies, kind of similar to that. And the thing was that they weren't just painted that way, they were also expected to work that way, behave that way. They would work in the fields as well, just like their parents. And in Victorian times, the motto was a little different. It was more along the lines of children should be seen and not heard. And more recently, it's been let kids be kids. You might think that this is a more humane way of treating kids, but I think that we've advanced a lot from Victorian times, just as attitudes towards women and people of color have advanced. The way that we view and treat kids throughout our history provides a lens through which to see how we as a culture have developed. Nelson Mandela, this is one of my favorite quotes of his, he once said, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." When we judge a society, we have to see how kids' dreams are fulfilled, how they're encouraged to excel. We must create a world where kids are truly free to be who they are. Like all of our previous attitudes towards children, Let Kids Be Kids is generally said by a bunch of adults, meaning then that it's not our idea of who we should be. Rewriting this definition of Let Kids Be Kids is no longer just an issue concerning me personally, but one that concerns everyone in our communities, our societies, and our world. It's up to the next generation to solve tomorrow's problems, and whether we can do it depends on how we let kids be kids, how we let kids expand on the possibilities that lie before us. If you saw out in the gallery, all of these ideas, what happens when all kids learn, these are the kind of possibilities that we need to embrace. So when it comes down to it, I agree with Let Kids Be Kids. That is, let kids be everything they can be. Because empowering me and my generation is engendering the progress of humanity. Thank you.